Welcome to my final video. We will be going through what is needed in this video. It first states that we need to create a new Linux VM in Google Cloud Platform. We need to name it final project and your last name. We also need to set up the Docker as well. So I've already created my VM. How I've done this is I've created a instance, and I just managed to follow these guidelines here. The instance should have a small machine type 2 gigabyte RAM, and we need to assign it to the latest image. We do not have to, it says here, do not enable Spot for this assignment. Use a Docker run command to create your container on VM, the new VM. So what we're going to do is we're going to create that VM, and as stated, we need to follow those guidelines. So I've already created my VM. The next step is to get started in creating my Docker. I've already created my Docker as well. So we're going to just go into that right now. Okay, let's give it a while. So I've already created my Docker. I just want to show the Docker I've created. And this is the Docker I've created over here. So what we'll be doing is just showing how I've connected to my Docker. I've used this image, the latest image, and I've used this commands here that helped me, or I've used this one here actually, and I've just changed the port number. I've added my name, my Docker name, and when running this command, it should then set up the Docker. So since it is set up already, we will be connecting. So we're gonna use this first option to migrate the database database that I've chosen onto the Docker. So I've already created the Docker, I've set it up. So I just need to upload my file. So I've already uploaded my file, but just to show that I have uploaded it, we're gonna run a Docker ls to see the file. So this is the file that I've managed to upload. How I've done this is I went to upload file, and then I've selected my backup file. So how I've also uploaded it to my Docker is I've done this command. And then I select my container. And this would be the path as to where we are storing it. So we can see that the Docker, or the file, was uploaded to the Docker. It says that we need to now establish a client connection to your database instance and issue a restore command. So we already restored the database on the client too. How I've done this is by click in on databases and restore. And click in device and then go into the file where I've placed where I placed the file. So I went to home, I go to home and there's my file. After clicking that, so this is how I've managed to restore it. I've just changed the location. And after changing the location, I can then now press OK, and then it should then restore my database as shown here. So the next part is we need to create a job, a backup job. I've already created my job. We're going to open this up here. So this is the job that I have created. And we're going to open it up and see how we've created it. So we just want to edit this here so we can make sure that it is running from the correct database. So this is my first step, and this is my commands as to what I need to do for this backup job to run. So we're going to click OK, and we're going to test the job. But we first have to make sure it is created. So the backup job is created now. We're going to start it up to see if it works. Okay, let's go. As we can see, the job is running. I just want to go into history. Okay, so the job has been created and it is running. So we have indicated the new database backup job inside the Docker instance and proved that all steps related to the job complete successfully. So we've done that. It says create at least two schemas with data security as a consideration. Transfer at least two tables of your choice into each of the new schemas. Issue a grant command that will give select rights on one schema to a new final test user login. So we're going to do that. I've created the two schemas already. The two schemas I created is Office and supply chain. So I just want to show how I've created the schema. The schema was created through me clicking on schema and selecting new schema, giving it a name, and then clicking OK. So that's how I've created the two schemas. So it says that we also need to transfer two tables of your choice into the new schemas. So we've done that already. We've transferred the two tables into the schemas that I've created. So I've already done so. So this is the command that I've ran, and it has transferred the two tables into the schema that I've created. We need to also create a final test user and then we need to grant a select, we need to grant select rights onto one of the schemas. So we're going to do that. So we're gonna go to logins. This is my logins. This is my final test user that I've created. And now I've done, so I've clicked new logins. I've clicked new logins, gave it a name and a password. And then we map this user to the database that I've created. So I've mapped it to this database over here. And that's how I created my user. So when we go to the user that I've created, we now have to create grant select rights on one of the schemas. So we're going to do that right away. So we're going to select schemas. So we're going to go to the offer schema. And it says we need to grant a select. So we've done that. Test this by logging into the database with this login and prove that the account can only see one schema, grant, and not the other. You must run the select statements on tables on both schemas. One schema should work and the other select should fail. Okay, so we're going to log in as this user. Okay, so we can see that we've logged in as the final test user. And what we'll be doing is we will be checking on the schemas. So you can see it's only showing the one schema that I've granted for. Let me just see. So what I want to do is I want to just give the user. I just want to give the user some reader rights, but then not select rights, so that we can test that to see if it's gonna work. Okay, I just want to log out again. So we want to firstly just want to grant that reader right so we can test and see if we can select from another schema. So we're just going to log in as the final user again. Okay, so we want to check now to see, we can see that we were able to grant a select statement on one of the schemas that we've created already. What we're going to do is we want to see if we can grant another select statement on the other tables. So okay, it shouldn't be doing that. But I think because the reason why it's doing that is because I've granted the reader right, so I shouldn't be doing that. So we're going to log back in as the main user. And we're going to take that rights away so that we can see that it doesn't work again. So it also states that we need to explain the importance of using a Docker. So we know that with a Docker, it is an open source platform that simplifies creating, deploying, and running applications. So the benefits to the Docker is it basically has all the necessary tools to get the application running. So it is beneficial when it comes to creating applications because it does deploy and it automates at the same time. So we want to just try and firstly take away, we want to take away the rights that we have given this user, and then we're going to just test it again. While that is running, we're going to move on. So we're going to take this away. And once that is running, we're just going to connect again to that test user. And we want to see if we are able to run from that other table. But once that is running, we're going to move on to number 5, it says we need to, before we move on to number 5, it says explain why using schemas is a good security practice. So with regards to schemas, it is a good way or one of the ways that we can use to group objects or tables. It also is a good way to implement good security practices since we can grant certain rights as well to schemas. So that would also help with data security. Number 5 states that we need to create a view that combines two tables. One table should be in the schema from 4B and the other should be in the schema you have not granted. Okay, so we're going to create a view. But before we do that, we want to test to see if we can see the database. If we can access the schemas from the other user. So we can see that because we've taken away that row or those rights, we will see that now we can't see the other schema, which is why we took away the rights. So you can see that this is the one that I've ran. I'm just going to run it again to see that it works. And we can see that it does work. So we're just going to move on to creating the view. So I've already created my view and it is working. Just want to show the view that I've created. So this is the view that I've created. So we want to create a view named employee versus employee heap. And we want to select the name, first name, last name from employee table, and the SSN and the city from the employee heap. From those tables, we're going to join them, and we're joining the office employee and the supply chain employee heap, and we're going to join them with the employee ID. So when we run that, it should give us this table. And I'm going to select the first 100 rows just to show that it is working. We can see that it is working. It should show these last name, first name, last name, SSN and city. As we can see, it is reflecting. It says that now we need to it says the view should contain the same schema as the schema you granted. Select. Then grant select on this view to the account created in 4B. So we're going to grant select to the view. Okay. Let's do this. Okay, let's cancel in the wrong option. So first let's disconnect this. So we're gonna go to users. Okay, so we're gonna search here. We want to look for the views. Okay, so we were still finding the different views, and we're looking for the view that we just created. This is the one. So it says that we need to grant a select onto this view. So we're gonna do that, granting the select for the new user. And then once this is going, so we're gonna log into the new user again. And we want to see that it works. So this is the new user, and we want to go to the view section so we can test it by selecting. So we can see that this is working. And that is show 5. So the reason as to why using views is a good practice, because in a company you might find that there's different divisions. So in different divisions they use different tables. So in this case, creating views for certain tables is a good practice because it allows the users to view only those tables and not to modify any data. It also is a good way to protect sensitive data that is not meant for other departments to view. It says create a new database level role, and the role should include the following privileges, right? So it says create a list of all the needed DCL from steps A through C and assign all of these privileges to this role. Create another login. So we're going to create this login here and add it as a member of this new role. Okay, so we're going to firstly disconnect this again. We're going to create a new login. So it should include a select on the schema from step B, the view, and a table of your choice. So this is our new user. Gonna just use a password. Okay, the user has been created. Okay, the user has been created and it is under our users. We're going to click on the user and we're going to grant those roles. And then we're going to test it by logging in as the final running buddy. So firstly, we're going to search schemas. I'm going to give the user Office. We're going to give access to the Office schema and granting them the select. So we also need to grant a view and also a table. So let's do that. Let's get the view and tables. It's taking a while to load. Okay, so we already selected the schema. We want to select a view. And then we're going to select a grant. So we created a schema. We issued a select we issued a select rights for a schema, table, and a view. So we just want to see if that was added. And then we will test it. So there's the schema, the view, and the table. Okay. So it all has select. So we want to log in as the final running buddy user and test to see if those are working. Okay, so you can see we have connected. So we're going to test the first one, which is, let's test the table first. So we can see this is working. Next, we are testing the view. Okay, the view is working. And then lastly, the schema. So we selected the office schema. So I see that the office schema and it's the same thing. So we can see that that is working. So we want to move on to number 6. It says, number 5, if number 7. Before we do that, we need to explain why using roles is a good security practice. So it's same like with the views section. How I explained is that we give certain access for the fact that we are dealing with data. So the same goes for using roles as a good security practice. We also provide roles to then give certain access to certain users for the fact that we need to also protect our data and follow the correct policies. So it says here, set up a column level encryption, choose one of the tables, the final body, running body login should now have access to from the role membership. Encrypt a column in the chosen table. And then we need to show that it's working. Okay. So we're going to do that from the running body. So we're going to go to the tables that we gave access to, and we're going to encrypt one of them, one of the columns. Go next. So we're going to encrypt the phone, the SSN, and the status. Okay, we're going to randomize it. They say we should choose one column. Okay, we're gonna select only one column. Let's go back. Let's choose the phone. Next. 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 So this is gonna load. Yeah, this is gonna take a while. Okay, so we've done the encryption, completed the setup, and as you can see, this is my encryption. The phone number is encrypted. What we need to do next is, it says that we need to back up and then restore database in full recovery model. So what we're going to do is we're just going to back up our database. Okay, we're waiting for the system to run, but we're going to back up the database as mentioned. So we need to back it up in full recovery mode, as we can see. Okay, we're gonna back it up. And let's see. Okay, my database, I have backed it up. Okay, so we had to back up our database and then restore it. So how I've done so is by going to this option and then clicking OK. Yeah, the database has been backed up, and we also want to restore it. Okay, we're going to restore the database. So it can also show that it was last backed up at this time and that date. Okay, we're still busy trying to restore the database, so I'm just trying a different option now. Let's try this again. It seems like we're getting an error. I'm not too sure what is the error. But what we're going to move on to is show 9. We have to test some of the databases that is given in the chat. So we're gonna, I'm gonna disconnect this one here. And I'm gonna connect to one of the databases in the chat. So what it wants us to test is that could you find the encrypted column? Did you select access to all tables in one schema? Okay, we have to test all of that. Okay. So it says here, what is encrypted? Management. So we want to see, so we logged on to one of the buddies and we can see that the file is encrypted. It also says we need to select access to one of the tables of the schema and see if it works. So we know this one is working. Let's try a different one. Okay, that works. So it looks like all the schemas seems to be working. Let's just try one more. It looks like the select is working on all all the schemas. So we checked the schemas. It seems like the select is working on all tables. So we're gonna check the view to see if it's working. Okay, it seems like the select on views is also working, which is correct. Okay, so we have already tested number 9, and now we go to show 10. It shows that we need to address the following. What strategies could you explore if the company grows and you are asked to create many database copies for testing purposes or future deployments? So the strategies I will use is to schedule full backups so that you don't have to create that many copies. The backup option is just to make sure that if any changes are made or any testing is being made, when we do restore the databases, it will then bring back all that, bring back the original set, the original database. What are some of the factors or options to consider regarding cloud hosting strategies? So with the cloud hosting, it is beneficial, especially um, if you are deploying, or it would be beneficial for automation and also for deploying applications. It is already part of the libraries or the tools that is needed for the application is already built in. when using cloud hosting strategies. That will be all for this week's video. Thank you so much.